Hello everyone, and welcome to another Sethaldor Guides. This is the guide for PvE Feral Cat Druid Specking. That is the melee DPS spec for Druids. So, for picking Feral, we earn the ability Mangle, which increases the effectiveness of bleeds, as well as does some damage. We also get Aggression, which increases AP by 25%. We also get Feral Instincts, which reduces the chance enemies have to detect us while prowling, and at 80 we earn the Mastery for Cats, which is Razor Claws, and that increases the damage of bleeds by 25% and increases by 3.1% per point of Mastery we earn. As you might have noticed, I am only going to go over the parts of talents that actually impact cats. I'm going to ignore the bare portions of talents. So in the first row we have Feral Swiftness, Fur, and Predatory Strikes. We're going to be picking up Fur first, which will provide us the freedom to go in and out of cat form as needed, because normally without this, when you enter cat form, you start with 0 energy and it fills up. Now you instantly get 100 energy, so you can feel free to shift out to remove a pesky root, snare, or perhaps slowing effect, and go back into cat form without fear of not having any energy to do anything. Also, it's kind of nice because you'll see that the ability Feral Charge, while in bear form, will interrupt spells. So you can switch into bear, Feral Charge, and switch back to cat without fear of not having energy. Next, we also pick up Predatory Strikes in the first row. The second half of this talent is very limited in effectiveness for a PvE environment. Basically, per combo point, when you use a finishing move, you have a 20% chance to make the next non-instant nature spell you cast instant, and that really only has a PvE application to perhaps a battle res, so that you can get back to DPSing faster, or maybe even a regrowth, or nourish, or healing touch. If you have to shift out of cat to run away from something because you got slowed, you can throw a heal on yourself and then go back into cat. Very specific situational plus there, but it is there. Don't expect to actually use it for that purpose. The main reason we grab Predatory Strikes is the first half, which states that our Ravage will have a 50% chance increased critical strike on targets above 80% health, which is obviously a good thing. Next row we have Infected Wounds, Fury Swipes, Primal Fury, and Feral Aggression. I personally am going to grab Fury Swipes, which causes our auto attacks to have a 15% chance to deal an additional attack that does 310% weapon damage. Now, I should point out that this is an additional attack and not just additional damage. Therefore, you need to make another successful hit roll, I do believe. This also has a 3-second internal cooldown. However, even with the chance to miss and the 3-second internal cooldown, it is an invaluable talent that is ridiculously powerful. Also, this encourages the stacking of haste where you can get it, when you can get it, possibly even reforging if you have enough mastery, because not only will haste cause you to do auto attacks faster, increasing the proc chance of Fury Swipes, but it also helps regen energy faster now. In this row, we also took Primal Fury, which basically states anytime we do an ability that generates a combo point, it will generate 2 instead of 1. Pretty self-explanatory why that's a good thing. Faster you get CPs, faster you can use finishing moves, which is what you're going to want to do. Next row we have King of the Jungle, Feral Charge, Stampede, and Thick Hide. King of the Jungle is nice because every time you use Tiger's Fury, it will give you 60 energy. You should be using Tiger's Fury every time it's up, but now that you pick up this talent, you can time it perhaps so that when you reach just about bottom level energy, you can pop Tiger's Fury, and look at that, you can still DPS. You have 60 energy out of nowhere, as well as the buff from Tiger's Fury, which lasts 60 seconds. This has a 30-second cooldown, so you could pretty much be having additional 60 energy every 30 seconds if you're right on top of it. Feral Charge for cats, I will intermittently call it Feral Leap or Pounce. Pounce is very incorrect, and I will explain why in a moment. But what this does is it allows you to get to your target almost immediately. It will put you also behind the target and daze them. I should point out this is very similar to a Warrior's Charge, however it does not do initial damage and does not stun, however it does daze. Next we have the talent Stampede, which you're going to get, and I can guarantee you without a shadow of a doubt we will be backfilling to the second point to this, that This allows you to use Ravage temporarily after using your Feral Charge ability without stealth and free of energy for 10 seconds. You'll be able to... The next Ravage within that 10-second span after the charge is free and does not require stealth. That's what Stampede allows it to do, which is absolutely fantastic, because what that means is you can Feral Charge in stealth form, use the Pounce ability, which is similar to a Cheap Shot for a rogue, only it applies a bleed effect and stuns. If you're doing this to a boss, no, the boss will not be stunned, however the bleed will be placed on them, and you will not be missing the Ravage damage, because you can use Ravage out of stealth for the next 10 seconds because of this ability. So overall, you will be increasing your damage output by getting that extra bleed you will not be able to get anywhere else in the fight other than right out of stealth by using this. Next, we also have Leader of the Pack. In this row, Brutal Impact and Nurturing Instincts. Leader of the Pack is nice because it provides you and everyone else around you that is friendly a 5% increased melee critical strike, and crits in cat form will heal you for 4% health and return 4% mana if you are not capped out. This has an internal cooldown of 6 seconds. So pretty much every little bit of healing you can do passively makes the healers' lives easier, but the 5% crit is the real reason you're grabbing this, and that should not require any explanation whatsoever. Brutal Impact is nice because it reduces the cooldown of your Skull Bash by 50 seconds, which is now similar to a Warrior's Pummel in that it will interrupt spellcasting and possibly lock them out, I'm not sure. So this isn't a bad thing to pick up. It also increases the duration of Pounce and Bash stuns, however bosses are immune to that. And the mana cost increase caused by skull bashing when spec'd for this really has no place in a PvE environment. There is also Nurturing Instincts, completely useless in a PvE situation. The increased healing done to you in cat form is nice, however completely unrequired, I can guarantee you that. So we're going to backfill Stampede, which leaves us with 3 points to place somewhere. Grab 2 in Feral Aggression, because Feral Aggression increases the damage of your Ferocious Bite by 10%, as well as causes Fairy Fire to stack all 3 stacks with 1 cast versus 1 at a time. By getting the Fairy Fire bonus, that allows you to save 2 GCDs, and the 10% increased Ferocious Bite damage is self-explanatory why that's good. Also, with this point, you could put it in Brutal Impact, in Thick Hide, in Nurturing Instinct, in Infected Wounds if you'd like. I'm going to choose Feral Swiftness because the movement speed while in cat form is nice, because if your Feral Charge is on cooldown, you can reach your target faster, because that does increase your speed while stealthed and not stealthed. Next row, we have Primal Madness, Survival Instincts, Endless Carnage, and Natural Reaction. Primal Madness, when using Berserk or Tiger's Fury, for their duration we gain an extra 20 energy on our energy cap, making it a total of 120 energy. Self-explanatory why that is fantastic. You should be using Tiger's Fury every time it's up, and your Berserk is your main cooldown to increase DPS massively. So this is good, because the more energy you have while your cooldowns are popped, the more damage you'll be able to push out. Also, we pick up Endless Carnage. The reason we pick this up is a lot of what a druid is keeping all of his debuffs up on the target and all of his buffs up on himself. He's not a burster like a mage or, say, a warrior perhaps. Arms warriors do have debuffs, but that's beside the point. He's got to keep everything sustained and up. There's very little time to just be spamming away some burst damage. Endless Carnage allows you to keep your bleeds and buffs up faster. Specifically, your Rake bleed will last 6 seconds longer, so that's 6 seconds of time you didn't have before you hit an extra GCD that just gets in the way, because Rake does not do enough initial damage to warrant being a viable spam button, if you will. Also, Savage Roar lasts 8 seconds longer with this, which is awesome because that is one of the buffs you want to keep up on yourself, as it increases total damage done, or AP now, I'm not sure if they changed it. Either way, you need to keep it up on yourself to be optimal, and 8 more seconds on that means you have 8 seconds to spend those 5 CPs on something else and get them back, or 8 seconds before you have an unwanted GCD getting in the mix. So the longer those things last, the more forgiving the Feral Cat rotation, if you will, if there is such a thing that you'd like to call that, is forgiving. That way you can make a mistake and still not totally lose all your DPS. However, if you don't make a mistake, this can pay off very well and increase your damage a ridiculous amount. So, we have one more point. Go back and backfill Feral Swiftness. Next, we have Blood in the Water, Rend and Tear, and Pulverize. Blood in the Water causes our Ferocious Bite to have a 100% chance to refresh Rip when the target is below 25% health and you hit them with Ferocious Bite. It's fairly obvious why you want to take this. I mean, the boss is almost dead. He's at a quarter of his health, and you just want to burst him down. So, if you don't have to take the GCD, 5 CPs, and time to redo Rip and then get 5 CPs back for a Pharaoh Bite, you can just do the Pharaoh Bite, and that will automatically refresh your Rip on the target, saving you the GCD, saving you the time, making you use the combo points in a more efficient way for the quarter health that you have to burn through now. Rend and Tear increases the damage done by your Shred attacks on bleeding targets. Your target should always be bleeding. Shred is like a rogue's backstab for a Feral Druid. You're going to be using that anytime you're not maintaining buffs or keeping debuffs on your target, because that will generate CPs as well as do the highest amount of damage. So that is definitely good to increase its damage output by 20%. And finally, the last half of this is excellent because it plays well with the Blood in the Water talent, in that your Ferocious Bite will have a 25% increased crit chance on bleeding targets. So, if the boss is at his bottom quarter health, when you Ferocious Bite a target with Rip on it, your crit chance, I should say, is increased by 25%. And because you hit him with Ferocious Bite, you refresh Rip so that when you get Ferocious Bite ready again, it will still receive the 20% increased critical strike chance. So it's a self-sustaining symbiosis of talents, if you will. Also, if you'll remember, Feral Aggression increases Ferocious Bite damage by 10% as well, so it's a really interlocking play between there. Finally, we get Berserk, which reduces the energy cost of all cat form abilities by 50% for 15 seconds. It should also be noted that you cannot use Tiger's Fury while Berserk is active. So one of the best situations you can go for is popping Tiger's Fury, wait 6 seconds for that buff to be gone, pop Berserk, because Tiger's Fury will still have 24 seconds of cooldown, and then you'll have 15 seconds of Berserk time, which is nice because you can't use Tiger's Fury while that's up anyways. And then after those 15 seconds, that means that you will have 9 seconds left on your Tiger's Fury before you can pop it again. So it really reduces the time that you don't have an extra cooldown popped when it's at the peak of the fight. I would suggest you save Berserk for a soft enrage, perhaps, or pop it right off at the beginning of the fight after you use your Tiger's Fury after getting a full rotation in. That way you can get the high damage output in the beginning of the fight. So really managing the rotation of your cooldowns is a good idea, because that will be the difference between a good Druid and a great Druid when it comes to cat form. Now we have 5 customized points, which is what I call them, because you can really spend these in anywhere relating to what you're going to do and still be classified as optimal, at least in my opinion. So feel free to put these where you'd like. However, I'm going in the Resto tree and grabbing Heart of the Wild and Natural Shapeshifter. And as I get more talent points, I'm going to go to the second row of Resto and pick up Master Shapeshifter, which provides 4% increased critical strike chance in cat form. After that, you will have quite literally 4 points you can do anything you want with. Don't spend them in the balance tree. There is nothing helpful to a cat druid in the balance tree. Those other 4 points you can really put anywhere else. Master Shapeshifter is the last thing that will help cat druids in a Resto tree. Everything else is for heals, so throw them in Feral Combat for reduced Skull Bash, increased armor for survivability, infected wounds for slowing attack speed. Anywhere you want, really, and I would still personally consider you optimized if you have this plus Master Shapeshifter. So, this has been PvE Feral Druid Specking with Sethaldor on Blade's Edge in the Guild Sacrilege on his character Taladorna. Thank you for watching. If you like this video, please subscribe. Please thumb up or down. Leave a comment in the comment section below. And if it is criticism, please make it polite and constructive. Thank you guys so much for listening, and I can't wait to put another one out for you.